Hey, Pete.
Must be satisfied with the comfort that you had in the second half there, given what you did in the second quarter.
Yeah, it was a good second quarter, wasn't it? Didn't start the second half too well. I thought Richmond came out of their rooms with a new energy, and it wasn't the greatest last quarter. So you always come away wanting more, unfortunately. And but ultimately, we came here today understanding that Richmond come out of a game leading into their bye where they weren't overly happy with their performance. We knew that they'd bring some venom, so we had to be on edge for that. And yeah, to come in at half time with a reasonably satisfying outcome in that half was really important, you know, on our journey this year. So ultimately, as from a holistic or in totality, yeah, it's a satisfying afternoon.
Maybe a bit of a habit, like when you do win, like you'll win really big. Like I think your last 6 wins have been something like 12 or 13 goal average. That must be really pleasing and give the boys so much confidence. When you guys get your game going up, it's almost impossible to stop, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there are aspects of our game that are quite strong, but we're vulnerable as well, you know, at different times. And, you know, we're not shying away from the fact that we haven't been able to beat, you know, most of the teams above us. And they're above us and higher up on the ladder for a reason. They're the better teams in the competition. So we understand that when there's maybe a heightened degree of pressure, maybe an increased physicality, I think we're usually pretty good at that. But the better teams have been able to just hold sway, unfortunately. And I mean, when we reflect on the games in the lead up to today, we've been in every game, and that's important. Last year, we came with a reasonable rush. I think we won 10 out of the last 12, but there were, you know, a handful of probably, I think, six games in this home and away season where we walked away thinking, you know, well, who was that today? We haven't had one of those this year. We've had a quarter here and there where we've been really frustrated, but it's encouraging. The blend through the team, it's a good mix of experience and youth now. There are young fellas getting opportunities, not just in forward lines. You know, they're playing a little bit of midfield time here and there. We needed that today. We needed to share the load with Adam going down. You know, all of us being pretty conservative with him early. So that's important for the group. And it was good that the Twos had a pretty good win, a good second half against the Tigers, who are a strong state league team.
How is Adam, and how concerning is it, Luke, that he's got another calf issue?
Well, as you know, he's had a fair few, Roger, over the journey. So for us to sub him out that early in the game, there's a degree of significant concern. As usual, it's difficult to tell the extent of an injury. We'll obviously report in pretty quickly once the experts know.
You hobbled around there for a while.
I did, Pete. Down the stairs, yeah, I was hobbling. Yeah.
That's not unusual, but Adam was hobbling around out there for a while. Like, what's the process there where you're trying to just work out exactly what's going on?
Yeah, I picked that up pretty quickly, actually. No one's allowed to hobble, and it doesn't matter who they are. And he's been a really, really influential player for us, Adam. So, yeah, the questions start being asked pretty quickly. And some of the lads, and Adam's one of those, you know, such a proud player, sometimes they want to work through discomfort. Sometimes they're not sure. They can't differentiate between discomfort and injury. So once he came off, boys assessed him, strapped him up, that's what he was after, tried it out, but he was incapacitated, so we had to take him off. So yeah, that'll never last long. Any hobble gets eradicated pretty quickly for our 18 on the field.
James O'Donnell, all right as well, didn't come on in the last quarter.
Yeah, just some adductor sort of tightness. So we were conservative call. We play Friday against Sydney, and we felt that we'd be better equipped to get him off and sit him down and start to recover. Think he's going to be okay. Just a bit of tightness. Don't think there's any significant injury at this stage.
And is McNeil okay? He came off. He was a bit sore in the clash out last quarter.
It seems like it. Yeah, I don't think it was a. It doesn't seem like it was a concussive or concussion type episode. I think he just might have just hurt his neck a little bit, but he seems fine.
Nick Caulfield's had an incredibly frustrating run of injury. It looked like he slogged in really nicely into defence. How much did it lift the team that he was able to get back to the level this week?
Very encouraging for him, Ed, definitely. And, as you said, it's been a long journey back. He's been in and out of parts of our pre-season and the lead up to the season proper. He strung the last 2 months together. It was important that he had some continuity. And, he got through, which is a bit of a sigh of relief, to be honest, with the things he's had going on with his body in the past. Did it give the team a lift? Not necessarily. Thought he played his role, and he'd definitely be better for it.
You mentioned before around your record against better sides. Did you feel like you need a scalp before September just to give them any confidence or anything like that? Or
are you intimating that we're going to be there in September? No, I don't think we need a scalp. We just, we need to win enough games to make it in the first place. Will we be a team that is capable of beating anyone at the end of the year? Well, I think so. We think that every week. And but there is that, there's talk about the leap that you need to make to be, say, where Collingwood are on the ladder. I mean, we reflect back on our game against Collingwood in round 2 at the MCG. There was only a goal in it. Great night, huge celebration, 100 years for the club. So I think it highlighted to us that early in the season that we're they probably didn't at that stage because Collingwood had an inauspicious start, hadn't they? But when you think of where they are now, there's some of the performances that give you some sense of encouragement. But ultimately, to get anywhere and achieve anything at the as the season rolls on, we're going to need to beat these teams above us. We've still got a number of them that we play, and in the past, Sydney have come at us really hard. We played them at the SCG this week, and they went at Port Adelaide really hard, and probably should have won by a hell of a lot more. They just were inaccurate with their opportunities. So, as much as they're below us on the ladder, you can sense that they're coming with some of the lads that have come back into their team too in Goulden and Papley, and so they've got a new sort of sense of they've got a little bit of momentum. So we won't think that they're below us on the ladder by any means.
Just following on from that, just after the Hawthorn game, which was not that much of a margin, but you were really disappointed as a club with that one. How important have the last 2 weeks have been, Luke, just to, I guess, set yourselves up for what's to come? Yeah,
well, it's one of those games that I spoke about earlier. We won 3 quarters on the scoreboard, but we got creamed in the first against a pretty good side. So it's frustrating, and I don't think it's not necessarily learning from it. It's just as each round goes by, the team, from the individual through the lines, through the team, as a whole, we just need to continue to improve. So, the good thing is that in the end we probably let Richmond score too much today, but we're scoring heavily. We know we can do that. We've been able to do that without Sam in the team, and I think what has let us down in most of these games against these teams is essentially offence. Turnovers in our back half, and missing opportunities in our front end. Geelong was a prime example. Very good side, can't afford to do it. So we're not worried about courage and contest and the defensive side, it is it is offence that we continue to need to tidy up against the better sides, and been quite prolific hitting the scoreboard. So there's another line of encouragement there that we can do it.
How much better?
Just following on from that, I mean, last week you had 13 goal kickers, this week 11 again. Is that were really must be pleasing again, just the way you're spreading the offensive load?
Yeah, it is. It's so important. You have to have that variety. You have to put the opposition on edge with your threats. 11's another good number, and obviously Sam hit it hard. He kicked 5. Marcus kicked 3. It's been a little while. I thought Marcus, obviously was quite outstanding. He's been solid again since he's come back, but he had a significant influence on this game. We couldn't get him on in the first quarter. He sat on the bench for about 10 minutes of the back end of it because the play was over the other side. We couldn't get anyone off. So we played the whole second quarter on the ground, and he obviously had a real say in that gap sort of getting a bit wider on the scoreboard.
How much better does this version of Sam make you in terms of what you might be able to accomplish in September?
Oh, you're going to September again. We are a mile off September. I think we've just snuck into the 8, haven't we? So you're not going to catch me out talking about September. But he's a pretty good young player.
Do you feel like you're better placed than this time last year, just overall, in terms of personnel and Sam playing this kind of footy in the midfield, humming and such?
Not really. Only because, look, from an offensive point of view, absolutely. Yeah, really do. Because I think we had, 24 forward-half turnovers, and we kicked 7 goals, 3. Now, they're good numbers. That's the way you'd like to play. And I thought we created some things from pressure that we didn't necessarily score from, and it was a shame because I thought the boys worked really hard with that. So I think the blend down there has been pretty good. We went a little bit smaller with Buku starting as a sub, but these kids who are playing, in their first season, like Cooper, like Joshy Dolan, I thought Sam Davidson had a pretty influential game on the wing. And there's a couple of boys in their second year. Obviously, we had to pull Sando out. He was really ill this morning, so he'll hopefully recover pretty well and be available for Friday night. But he and Joel, the boys in their second year, there's some lads who are working with our coaching and our high-performance medical staff, and they're showing some really encouraging signs, but they'll need to improve again, for us to really do anything. So, but we're holding up okay, and we look forward to the challenge next week against the Swans.
I know it's not related to the game, but Jamarra spoke on a podcast today. I don't know if you've seen what he said, but it gives us an insight into what he's been going through. What's your thoughts on what's ahead of him in the next sort of month or couple of weeks, Luke?
Oh, it's just probably similar to what I said in the presser the other day, Pete. It's just him being there, training with his teammates, trying to normalise that. That's the critical initial step in his journey, just to be able to exist as an AFL player. And then we'll work through, as the weeks go on, whether he's ready to actually play. So we just, when you've been away and not been able to do that for a period of time, there's still some uncertainty in it. So we'll just we'll tread lightly around it, and hopefully he can do it.
You touched on him before, but Sam Davidson on the wing, how have you seen his growth even this year as he's been able to get exposed to the first half of the season? Felt like one of his more influential games at the level. Yeah,
he's been very good, and look at it from a couple of angles. He was mostly wing today. He's played some forward weeks where he's been mostly forward, and quite a prolific runner, Sam. And it gives you a level of confidence because he's not turning 19 this year. I think he turns 22 this year. I haven't got all the boys' birthdays at the forefront of my mind, but just that physical maturity. He's a bigger kid, like he's about 6'3", and he'll keep improving. We sort of hound him about one or two things, but he does a lot right. So that's encouraging because you think in the the season of 23 rounds that because he's got a bit of footy under his belt and he's physically a bit more mature, that he should be able to endure.
It's been reported today that you might have had a ring from Matt Rowell during the week, and maybe not the news you were hoping to hear, but how do you sort of reflect on that meeting with him and trying to sort of... it feels like a fairly open meeting with a player in the middle of the season. Do you think things have moved a little bit on that front?
I don't know much about this, Ed. Where are you getting all this information from? What's happened?
So a couple of places have reported today after Rowell he's about on the verge of signing an extension at the Suns. So it's been reported that he gave you a phone call.
Yeah, well, they dropped the game today and they're out of the 8, so is it time to change his mind or... No, look, I think I haven't met with Matthew this in season. Matt and I did meet a while ago and loved the connection and really enjoyed it. We struck up we've got some common interests and ultimately he's an extremely influential player for the Gold Coast Suns. It's the reason why we're talking to him because there was uncertainty and he was thinking that he might come back to Victoria. And as most of the coaches have said along the way, why wouldn't you? You're letting your club down if you don't. But, respect his decision, absolutely. I haven't spoken to him, but I will at some point. And wish him all the best because he's an outstanding young man and the Suns are lucky to have him. So... yeah, he'll play good footy for him over the next couple of years beyond this one, and then who knows what he'll do after that. Thanks, everyone.